Welcome to Sebring Signs and Shirts, located at the corner of Kenilworth and Lakeview, right across from Pelicans at one side, Dimitri's at the other. Sebring Signs has been at this location since 2001. I was the original owner, and it was Sebring Signs and Promotions. And then in 2020, I handed the reins over to Tina, and she can tell you about how she became interested in the sign business.
Hello, my name is Tina. I'm the new owner of Sebring Signs and Shirts as of 5 years ago, so not too new, but opportunity came about during COVID. I had a small Facebook business going at the time where I used my Cricut and made some t-shirts and made some small signs. And my now fiance met Linda through Facebook. She had a large format printer on sale, and he purchased it and fixed it, and they kept in touch. So when Linda came to the decision that she wanted to sell her business to somebody that would take it and run with it, James suggested that I would be a good fit, and so here I am.
So the business has changed in many ways. Back in the old days, we did a lot more things that required more space. So this whole unit, 1,750 square feet, was all the sign store. So when Tina kept working the business in a way that it had come to fruition over the 20 plus years that I've been in business, she didn't need a lot of extra help, and she did not need big giant tables that I had and some of the other things. Plus she was also heavily involved in the shirt business as well as the signs. So she has rented out this nook, still connected with me, because she is one of our star vendors with her wreaths in the Emporium, and then also doing this full-time job with the shirts and the sign making. And there's pretty much not any kind of sign that she can't do short of putting up big poles and having those kind of signs. But everything else, banners, truck lettering, anything else that needs your business name promoted in a professional way, she's the gal.
When somebody wants, like, say like lettering on a truck, usually what's the turnaround on that?
Usually I like to tell people about 2 weeks. A lot of times it does end up being less. It just depends on what projects I have going at the moment. But that's one of the things that I do try and pride myself on, is having a quick turnaround and sticking to that quick turnaround once it's promised.
And I see there's a lot of shirts being folded in the background. This lovely lady here. Now I know I'm gonna ask a lot of questions about how long and stuff, but like, say somebody wants like a bunch of shirts for, like, you know, like a little sports team or something like that. Generally, what would be kind of like a turnaround on that?
Usually about the same. Usually I try to stick to about a 2-week turnaround. There are certain instances, there are definitely some larger format signs that need to be specially made, and some different instances where waiting on things to be produced that do go outside of that 2-week time frame. But I usually try to keep everything within 2 weeks or less when I have control.
And it's you know, and it sounds like it's something that most of the time you're kind of doing yourself, unless you have a lot of people helping you and stuff.
Yes, most of the time I do run the business on my own. I do have Linda here, and she is always helpful for questions and techniques. In 5 years, there are still new projects that come along, and so with Linda having the sign expertise, normally if I go to her with a question, she is able to help me and to guide me and to show me different techniques and ways about doing things. So I will absolutely forever be grateful for that. Yeah.
I know it's not always that you have kind of like a built-in muse, you know, somebody that can help you create and do all this.
We are very fortunate to have forged a wonderful, meaningful, long-lasting friendship. And it tickles me to have a daughter I didn't have to give birth to carry it on, because I had 3 daughters and none of them were interested in sign business, which is a wonderful, interesting, daily adventure and a way to feel so much a part of the community that there's very few businesses that connect you the same way that, you know, there's a lot of charity work that you do, and it's amazing the spectrum of ways that you interact with the community. And I think that's sort of not really seen, but for me to have what was a huge purpose in my life to be handed off to somebody that really, really has taken it, run with it, made it her own, been able to raise her family with it, and in many ways she does a much better job personally than I think I did as Linda the sign lady. But I think she's a superstar. She's a wonderful, trustworthy lady, and I'm really happy that Sebring Signs is still going strong after all these years. Ups and downs in politics and, you know, money things that, you know, there's things that go up and down, but the sign business is a really consistent, interesting way to make a livelihood. And so it's just been so nice to be part of that and see so many customers that I enjoyed having, with new ones that I never met, be part of it. It's a dream come true. And to connect with the Emporium, to have her here as a vendor as well, it's her passion for relaxation and creativity that's totally different from commercial sign making.
It's kind of a marriage of 2 different kind of arts in a way.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And I noticed, like on shirts, it's got like glossy letters. Can you do that kind of thing with the
This
t-shirt?
one, not particularly. This one's sequenced. This is something that would be completely out of my realm. But I can do a very large scope on t-shirts. I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of business t-shirts, along with a lot of personal t-shirts. I had one guy that came in and he was just absolutely so thrilled to be divorced that he wanted to announce it to the world. So I made him a shirt that said "Finally Divorced," and it was like the greatest thing to him, and gained a customer by it. So I mean, there's definitely some requests that mean more to some people than others, and that was one of those that really meant a lot to him. So I mean, there's been a lot of things that I've brought into reality. I've done a lot of logo making, a lot of storefront lettering, vehicle lettering. I actually had a commercial a few years ago that was played on WWOJ and the other surrounding local companies that talked about that we could do lettering on almost everything, including a dump truck. And so a couple of years ago, I was able to actually do a dump truck and make that commercial come to life. So that was kind of a neat little story. But I've done lettering on really, really large cranes. I just did lettering for the new restaurant that opened yesterday that used to be Sunny's, the Grill at Lake Jackson. I did some big signage and some big lettering over there. So it's a really neat way to be involved and be part of the community, because you really do end up making customers that turn into friends, that turn into family, and it's a really awesome thing. It's really neat still after 5 years driving up and down the road and either seeing a vehicle or a trailer or a business and being able to point it and say, I did that, I did that, and it doesn't get old. It actually does not get old. So.
And I can kind of relate to that, because one of my first jobs, I worked for a young sign company. I didn't know nothing about anything, but he taught me a lot of stuff, and we did billboards. And that was back in the day. Your color palette was just, you know, you just mix colors together and you go up and you paint in, you know, and do these ginormous billboards, because they didn't have electronic billboards back then or anything. So it was kind of a thrill. And then you'd be driving, oh, I worked on that.
Yeah, it is. It's a neat, fulfilling feeling. And I've done lots of really, really large banners on billboards. I've done a ton of real estate signs, big and small. So I've really made an impact, I feel like, quite a bit in the community by what I do. So it's a very meaningful, very purposeful business.
So note to the realtors out there: when you're watching this, this is the lady to see to have some signs made for you, because you want to sell your real estate. This is the lady to see.
Yes.
And I'd like to say one more little thing about our girl Tina. She can do everything from as small as a nameplate that you can go and light your candle for somebody special at the Catholic Church, to a whole program of signs at a bigger church. So they have been wonderful people and recipients of Sebring Signs work. And vehicles, they transport, they really require a great deal of signage and various other products that she's capable of doing. So it looks like a small space, but it's not a small person in the space.
And it's more than obvious looking around all the signs and everything. The creativity is just endless, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like to tell people about your business before we
Come and see me.
And our hours of operation are?
Yes, during the summer I do shorten my hours by a little bit. I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 to 3, because I do have children and it is very hard with childcare. So my summer hours do get a little bit shorter, but I still am here Monday through Friday. I do not generally work on weekends, but if there are certain circumstances that require it, I am okay with it, as long as it's planned and works into somebody's schedule. So I'm not completely opposed to weekends, but I do try and spend time with my family on the weekends. But I am here Monday through Friday, and you can come in and see me anytime.
And what is your phone number?
863-471-1800.